Friends, I think we're going to get this kicked off. I was telling our guest speaker, Arnett Moore, that this is the South. He's from California. We move a lot slower whenever it gets cold like this. So we're waiting to see who else might come in. But we may have some people that are, like all of us, moving a little slow today. But we want to thank you for being here. My name's Mark Tullis, the President CEO of the museum. And we're just delighted that this occasion has finally come. You're going to hear in a few minutes from my partner in crime in helping get this institution off the ground, Marty Gamblin, who's head of our Walk of Fame and Hall of Fame, that he's been cultivating this relationship with Arnett Moore for a long time, and that day has come. So I want to do a little housekeeping. If you need restrooms or you're new to the museum, the restrooms are down around the way you came in and to your left. And then, of course, we want you to spend some time with us today and explore the galleries if you've never been through the museum, especially the exhibition that we opened last night, which is next door. Finally, we want to thank you all for your time. After we have this presentation, we're going to go outside very briefly because it's so cold. We're going to unveil the star, which we're so proud of, on the Walk of Fame just outside these doors, so we'll lead you all out there. But I want to tell you a little bit about Marty Gamblin. He was on this project as a board member many years ago. He's been in the music industry for a very long time and has managed greats like Glenn Campbell and befriended many artists throughout the years. And we're just fortunate to have him on board with us as our consultant with the Hall of Fame and the Walk of Fame. So let's hear it from Marty Gamblin. We're glad he's here with us today.
Thank you, Mark. I don't want to get into explaining what all Mark's done to take this thing and run with it, since I kind of pushed it off into the weeds. But I know we're somewhat pressed for time to stay on schedule. And but this gentleman that I'm about to introduce, and I'm going to have to read his introduction because he and I've been swapping. I said we've been pen pals for over 2 years, but I never met him until this morning. And but it's really been a pleasure. We started back on December 1st, 2019. He wrote me and said, "How does somebody get on the Walk of Fame?" And I said, "Well, unless you go through the process, there is a way that you can get somebody their own Walk of Fame star." But I said that you have to pay for it yourself. And to his credit, he has never batted an eye about doing that, and that brings us to where we are today. But let me tell you just a second, and like I said, I'm gonna have to read most of this because I just got it. And but it's. He's a retired sales executive, having worked for Avon Products, Miller Brewing Company, and Ralph's Grocery Company. He was born in Los Angeles in 1946, where he attended grade school and graduated from Pepperdine University with a BA in business. He is a Vietnam veteran and was a Bronze Star, awarded a Bronze Star for heroism. And to that, Arnett, we certainly salute you and any other veterans that are here with us. Absolutely. He is married with 1 daughter and 3 grandchildren. Volunteers for the American Legion as commander. The Senior Corps retired executive as a counselor and board secretary for the Centerpoint Inc., a drug and alcohol treatment program. And he enjoys corn collecting and genealogy, and he enjoys upholding the family name. And I'm just thrilled to death to welcome from Oakland, I guess it would be, Mr. Arnett Moore.
Thank you, Marty. I tell you, it's a pleasure working with this man. He and I go way back. And he and Ted, I don't know if Ted's in the room, I call him, these kids use these abbreviations and stuff, LLF, lifelong friends, okay? Bear with me for a few minutes while I just recount some of the things I did yesterday. My wife got me to the airport 2 hours early for my flight, and got there, flight canceled, United Airlines. I said, okay. I said, well, what do I need to do? I'm Terminal 2 at United. They said, well, go over to Terminal 1 and talk to American. They have a flight that arrives at midnight. I said, okay, went to American, and they in turn told me that we can get you on the flight, but Delta has a flight that gets you in at 8:30. I said, okay, so I had to walk back to Terminal 2, right next to United, and got on that flight. But while I was engaged with them, trying to negotiate, not money, because they was firm with that, but getting on that flight where I was going to sit, I got a call. And I got a call from Stacy here with Max. She brought my stress level way down because she told me that Ted would be picking me up when I got to Jackson. Ted and I enjoyed a nice conversation. We cured the world's problems over the, an hour and a half hour drive? I don't know what it was. It went by so quick. What I've seen of this city, Meridian, I love it. I want to see the rest. I'm going to see as much as I can over the next 24 hours because, again, this museum, just incredible. We need something like this in Oakland, California. Let's see, have I touched on everybody? Ty at the at the hotel, she was very helpful, joyous woman, and we had a little chat this morning, which was wonderful. She welcomed me, and as I have been welcomed to this city, so I appreciate that. Appreciate you all being here. I'm going to start with a little video, but before we hit the video, I want you to know that there are some dates that are incorrect. My Aunt Juanita, her birth and her passing dates are incorrect. No problem, they're correct in your program. So refer to that, and also in my slideshow, you'll see the right dates. But I had to show you this video that I found on the internet. I thought it was well done, and I thought it would tell the story for those of you that have seen Imitation of Life. It will remind you of some of the scenes in Imitation of Life. For those of you that have not seen Imitation of Life, hopefully it will force you to have to see it. So if we can start the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing
I'm white. White. White! I don't want to have to come through back doors or feel lower than other people or apologize for my mother's color. Don't say she can't help her color. But I can.
Juanita Moore. Hers was the shame and the pain.
There, Jane Johnson. You put your clothes on and get out of it.
Tonight will be done. Trouble of the world, Lord. Trouble of the world. Trouble, Lord, of the world. How sooner will be done. Trouble, Lord of the world, I'm going to hold the lead with God. No more weeping and wailing. No more weeping and wailing, no more weeping and wailing. I'm going home to live with my Lord, Lord, sooner be done. My trouble, oh, His word. Oh, my trouble in this world. Lord, my trouble in this world. Lord, how sooner will be done. The trouble of this world. I'm going on. To leave with my Lord.
You know, a lot of people think that Nat King Cole sang the theme song for the movie, but it was actually Earl Grant. They wanted Earl Grant, and it fit the theme of imitation. Earl Grant was an imitation of Nat King Cole. So just a little trivia on the side. I am honored and appreciative that my aunt Juanita Moore is being honored today by the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in the state where she was born. Aunt Nita, as we called her, loved the entertainment business and gave to it her all, in spite of the challenges that she faced. She maintained a sincere love and dedication to her craft and fellow entertainers throughout her long life. My aunt's 7+ decade career in show business is truly a testament to her unswerving desire to leave a legacy for others and be an exemplary example to follow. Juanita Moore is a true trailblazer in every sense of the word. As we know, teamwork makes the dream work, and the team supporting this effort included Electra Price, Elvis Ward, Elder and Mrs. Perrone, and Katrina Robinson. In a German legend, God named all the plants when a tiny unnamed one called out, "Forget me not, O Lord." God replied, "That shall be your name." It is my hope that after today, Juanita Moore's name will be among the forget-me-nots. In the slideshow, please look for 2 photos in particular. One of 3 children taken in about 1915. My father and his 3 younger sisters, Aguinaldo and Juanita. The other photo is of my great-great-grandfather, John Wesley Dunn, Methodist presiding elder for Greenwood, Mississippi, taken about 1885. Pastor Dunn was a Methodist circuit rider in the 1850s and later founded Wesley Chapel in 1870 in Greenwood. The church he founded is now named Wesley United Methodist Church in the Wesley District of Greenwood, Mississippi. My family research began after I turned 60 about 15 years ago. Although it's never too late to start, as time passes, so do those who knew the family story and had maintained family photos and knew who was on those photos. I would have no knowledge of either photo without my Aunt Aguinaldo, who lived to be 101, and knew of the photo's existence and helped me obtain them. One day I visited the Oakland, California Family Search Library and met who I'll call an angel, and the queen of research, Electra Price, who assisted Alex Haley with his roots genealogy research. Miss Price guided me in the research process, encouraging me to talk with senior family members, gather family photos, and find out the names of those on those photos, but most importantly, begin researching. Although I wish that I'd begun researching earlier and joined an organization like the African American Genealogical Society, it was important to start. Elvis, the association's president, suggested that I consider having my DNA tested, which I did, and I encouraged other relatives to do so, including my mother's sister and Aunt Juanita, my father's sister. While I want you to view the slideshow, I also hope that you will multitask and hear what I am talking about as well. My Aunt Juanita would often say that she and I were the last of the Moore surname family line, and now it's up to me to create our Moore family legacy, which I have begun. As many of us know, it's not always easy to get senior family members to discuss their earlier life, since we never talked about her career in show business to family. I learned more after her passing through personal research, reviewing old articles about her, film interviews, books, and talking to my older cousin, James Nelson, who recently turned 86 years of age. Growing up in the 1940s and 1950s, it was not common to see people of color in movies or on TV. And when it did occur, a level of community pride existed. Juanita Moore became one of those familiar faces regularly seen during this time. Hattie McDaniels, a black actress of that era, once stated to a columnist, "Why should I complain about making $700 a week playing a maid if I did not be making $7 a week being a maid?" Not the more widely known quote attributed to her, "I'd rather play a maid than be one." Juanita was the third black person nominated in the supporting actress category, following winner Hattie McDaniels for Gone with the Wind in 1939, and nominee Ethel Waters for Pinky in 1949. 20 years elapsed between McDaniels' Oscar and Juanita's nomination in 1959. Juanita was the ninth of 9 children born to Willie Ella Moore Dunn, Moore, and Harrison Moore in Itta-Bena, Mississippi, on the family-owned farm, October 19, 1915. I remember once mentioning to Juanita that I read an article stating that she was born in Los Angeles in 1922. She immediately countered, "Baby, all actresses fudge on their age, and who the neck knows where Itta-Bena, Mississippi is anyway?" Well, I never mentioned that again. While still an infant, her father passed away from influenza in 1917. Thereafter, her mother moved the family of 8, one son having died in 1905, to Los Angeles on the train which her brother, Chambers Dunn, a sleeping car porter, paid for, which enabled Juanita's mother to join her other siblings who had moved to Los Angeles. Juanita was raised in Los Angeles and at age 15 contracted polio and was nursed back to health by her mother and sisters, who massaged her legs with olive oil while she slowly recovered. As noted in his book, Born to be Hurt, Sam Staggs learned from Juanita that she was a musically inclined young child, singing and dancing early on. In the late 1920s, Juanita attended performances of the Lafayette Players, a black theater ensemble out of New York, who staged plays in Los Angeles such as Madam X and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and she became totally captivated. At Jefferson High School in Los Angeles, a teacher, Miss Thompson, heard Juanita sing in the Glee Club and suggested the possibility of a career on stage along with 2 friends. Juanita began singing high school functions as a trio, participating in many school functions. Juanita and her friend Emma Priestley, one of the trio members, both still in high school. I must give you a little background further on that. Actually, they had left LA at about 16 and a half, went to San Diego. This was the trio of girls. Well, the truant officers got him and brought him back to L.A. Now, this is a side story. Don't repeat it to nobody, okay? This is family real lore. Anyway, brought him back to L.A. Well, Juanita and Emma Priestley decided to go to New York, and they, in turn, I'll tell you the rest of the story there. A person asked me, well, what did your grandmother say? Look, she had 7 other kids. She cared about her, but the other kids were grown, and quite frankly, Juanita thought she was grown, so she let her go. Went to New York to pursue their dream of a career in show business. Juanita first performed as a dancer and singer at the Cotton Club, and went on to work at Small's Paradise, Cafe Zanzibar, and other clubs throughout New York's Harlem area. At age 21, now think about that. At age 21, Juanita traveled to Southampton, England, aboard the ship Normandy to begin performing at the London Palladium, the Moulin Rouge in Paris, and other venues throughout Europe, striking up friendships with Josephine Baker and other black artists of the time. At the start of World War II, Juanita left Europe and returned to California, where she found work at the Cotton Club in Culver City before becoming a film extra while working in theater. During the war, Juanita continued to dance in films like Star Spangled Rhythm, 1942, and in the all-black cast musical Cabin in the Sky, 1943. Gradually, Juanita began obtaining small speaking parts. While studying at the Racially Integrated Actors Lab in Hollywood, Juanita made her acting debut in a small role as a nurse in Pinky, 1949. How many of you have seen Pinky? A few of you. There's a scene where I think Juanita's coming down the stairs and Ethel Waters is coming up the stairs, and they give each other these looks to kill, they might say. Well, they didn't like each other, and it was very evident during that particular scene. The Actors Lab provided her with a rewarding range of unstereotypical acting stage roles, but racially charged Hollywood of the time provided a succession of unbilled bit parts, playing maids or powder room attendees. Nevertheless, Juanita made her presence felt in films like Affair in Trinidad. My mother-in-law was from Trinidad. She's recently passed away, but she saw Affair in Trinidad, and she said, she speaks like a Trinidadian. Don't ask me how she learned it, but she did. Anyway, that was 1952. Woman's Prison, 1955, and The Girl Can't Help It, 1956. Speaking of that era in Hollywood, Juanita commented that very few black actors got the opportunity to hone their craft in the same way as white actors did. And film roles shifted between the African jungle and the boudoir. A native girl in Tarzan and the Jungle Queen, 1951, Maid to a Southern Belle in Iron Mistress, 1952. Juanita played a psychiatric patient in Witness to Murder, 1952. In Queen Bee, 1955, she played a maid. And in Something of Value, in 1957, with Sidney Poitier, she played a tribal woman. Juanita's breakthrough came at age 44 years of age in Universal's Imitation of Life, 1959, directed by Douglas Sirk, which many commented, including the famous German director Rainer Fassbinder, observing that the film starts out about the white woman and turns into the film about the black woman. By this time, Juanita was able to wring the right things out of pretty much every role she had, no matter how fleeting, which was her greatest accomplishment, along with her endurance, leaving no room for phoning in the work. Juanita gained great satisfaction from stage roles, and in 1950 traveled to London to play the strong and devoted matriarch Mama Lena in Lauren Hansberry's award-winning play, A Raisin in the Sun, at the Adelphi Theater. On Broadway, Juanita played Sister Boxer in James Baldwin's The Amen Corner, 1965. Who Tonya told me was really funded by Nat King Cole. I didn't know that. There were numerous Hollywood films which Juanita appeared in during 1960s, 70s, and 80s, which included Walk on the Wild Side, 1962, The Singing Nun, 1966, The Skin Game, 1977, Paternity, 1981, Two Moon Junction, 1988, but none allowed her the opportunity to display her acting range and versatility. Better opportunities came during the era known as blaxploitation, with supporting roles in Uptight, 1969, The Mac, 1973, Thomasine and Bushrod, 1974, Abby, 1974. Juanita gained additional work in television on commercials such as the Tyson food commercials and being the X-Lax lady, which ran for years, as well as her stage performances. Juanita continued to work in movies and television during the 1980s and 1990s while she was caring for her ailing husband. In 1981, she appeared in the ABC weekend special, The Notorious Jumping Frog of Calaveras County, as well as movies such as O'Hara's Wife, 1982, and The Sterling Case, 1999. Early in 2000, while semi-retired and about 85 years old, and still doing limited television work, Juanita accompanied her godson to an audition with an agent for encouragement, but was rediscovered instead. And the meeting resulted in Juanita's final feature film, Walt Disney's The Kid. Subsequently, Juanita joyously attended Imitation of Life film revivals, and on April 23, 2010, when she was 94 years of age, a new print of the film was screened at the Turner Classic Movie Film Festival in Los Angeles, which she attended with her co-star Susan Kohner. After the screening and Q&A session, both actors received a standing ovation. Juanita's career was shaped more by the conditions in Hollywood at the time for Black actors rather than her tremendous talent. On December 31st, 2013, the curtains closed on Juanita's life. A true Hollywood unsung legend at 98 years of age, joining her place among a cast of angels. Forget her not. Thank you. If I have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain them. I think we've got a few minutes.